Hey guys, Mark here. Once again, we forgot to introduce David Cross's podcast. He's on this episode. He is on the Award Wieners Movie Review podcast. It's an excellent show where they talk about Academy Award winning films that won Best Picture, and they match it up with an Oscar Mayer hot dog recipe. It's a lot of fun. They do a ton of research. You'll learn a lot while listening. You'll learn a lot about movies. You'll learn a lot about hot dogs. It's a fantastic podcast. I totally recommend you checking it out after this episode. Hello and welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a man who is currently sitting on the passenger side of a car and slowly lifting the window up and down annoyingly. It's David Cross.
What's going on, dude?
So we're just waiting here for some bikers, some
Cenobites,
pure evil bikers that are either a demonic force or just really loaded on a bad LSD trip, some good acid, you know?
I don't know if it's good if they turn you into demons.
It's true. They love it though, don't they?
They do, yeah.
So we're waiting. I just blew the horn of, oh man, I have the thing in my notes here.
Abraxas.
I just blew the horn. We're waiting. Why are you lifting this window up so slowly, up and down?
Well, I'm bored. I want the action to get started. I am ready to hang out with these bikers.
So I gotta tell you, when I saw one day I had off of work. I was just looking through movie times. I'm like, well, maybe I should go see a movie. And Megan was actually at a meeting, so I was like, I got the whole night open. I'm gonna see what I can do. And I just saw Mandy at the theater near me, only screening around the area because it had a very limited release. So I bought the ticket immediately and I went. And the theater was about half full, and it was a big theater, which is pretty good for a movie like Mandy. I think I hit the right theater because at that scene, people started laughing. And then also the cheddar goblin scene. The people in the theater sort of realized that there were a lot of comedic elements to Mandy. And we all just when he started rip-roaring the cocaine, the cheddar goblin, the window up and down with the kid being really slack-jawed, I think people learned that they could have fun with it. And it was one of the best experiences I've had in a theater probably in the last 5 years. Just everyone loving this movie.
Mark, I had a similar experience. I saw that Alamo Drafthouse. I went in knowing it was a Nicolas Cage heavy metal movie. That's all I knew. And the audience was just so into it. And I can tell you that when I left, I had this feeling of euphoria because I watch a lot of film. And in most of them, I can guess where a movie is going within the first 10 to 15 minutes. I understand story arc. And this one, I was like, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I loved it so much because of that.
Well, so there's a chainsaw fight, but a guy has a bigger chainsaw. And then you have these monologues. You have this touching. I had this weird thing. So I started thinking about this, right? And I started doing some research into Nick Cage's movies. And Mandy is, I mean, I don't think I have enough to write an article, but I think Mandy is basically all of the best of Nick Cage into one. So the beginning of this movie, it just centers around his relationship with Mandy. So his character's name is Red. His girlfriend's name is Mandy. They're both kind of scarred people. I mean, literally scarred, figuratively scarred. They've kind of moved away into the middle of nowhere to just live a peaceful existence with each other. So Nick Cage in the 80s, right? He had Valley Girl, which we talked about on the podcast. He had Moonstruck with Cher. Mm-hmm. I mean, the guy had,
Raising Arizona, Vampire's Kiss.
Yeah, exactly. He had these romantic films that were actually good in the 80s. He had some very good 80s romances, right? Mm-hmm. And then we move into the 90s, and the early 90s were still kind of him getting his footing. Kiss of Death, he's a badass in a tank top throwing people out of trucks. But then leaving Las Vegas, he goes on this suicide run to Vegas to drink himself to death. And in Mandy, he goes on a suicide mission to get revenge. And then we have Action Cage in The Rock, Con Air, and Face Off. So he gets imprisoned. He gets chained up in this movie. He gets free. He battles massive odds to get home. He battles some crazy criminals in Con Air. He switches faces with a horrible villain, which is also a bonkers movie with great freakouts, right? And also in this film, he has a freakout, which I loved. And in my review that I wrote for it a couple of years ago, I said it's a warranted freakout. I think there are some movies that are very exploitative towards Cage, and they just get him acting loud unnecessarily. But this one feels earned. It absolutely feels, when you're watching it, you're like, oh, okay, it's a Cage freakout, but he also just lost the love of his life that, as we learned early in the film, he's absolutely enamored by. He just looks at her, and that scene where she's coming out of the water, he is just, he loves her. He's obsessed too. He's just in awe of Mandy. So he has, those kind of runs. And then also he goes on a mission. National Treasure, he goes on a mission to find things. He goes on a mission to find these people. Also in National Treasure, he goes underground to get the treasure. At the end, he goes underground to do some battle. I mean, you have a station wagon in this movie. There's a station wagon in Wicker Man, which is really random. But yeah, it's just the best of Nick Cage. His physicality, his physicality, eccentricities, his performance, his commitment. It's like all of the best of Cage in one in this movie. And I love that Cage has he does some really interesting projects. Now, he's done some very bad movies like Stolen, that just slapped a really terrible wig on Josh Lucas and it crushed my soul. And that Indianapolis movie about, the real life story. But sometimes he'll churn out this or Joe or his latest one, which is Color Out of Space. And I call this is weird. I know I'm talking a lot here, but this sounds weird because I call it his Working the Land trilogy of the 2010s. Where it's Joe, he's killing trees. He's spraying them to kill them. Mandy, he's an arborist. He cuts down trees. He's a lumberjack. And in The Color of Space, he becomes a farmer. So his Working the Land trilogy of the 2010s is excellent. They're very good movies. And also they're directed by excellent directors. David Gordon Green, Panos Cosmatos, and then you have Richard Stanley. Three kind of eccentric, odd directors. And he's put in really good work. And so watching Mandy, not only is it like a visceral, you feel it, you hear it. It's a very sensory blasting experience, but he's also very good in it and he sells it. And man, I gotta tell you, if they handed out an Oscar for line delivery, that's it. Like the best line delivery. I love everything Andrea Riseborough says in this movie. When she's talking about the Starlings, they were so cute. Like I couldn't even mimic how she did her line deliveries, but I loved it. But yeah, no, just me saying this movie's good. And encapsulates Nick Cage, and I could talk about this for hours.
So I think you brought up a good point here, or a good subject. Why do you think people love Nick Cage so much? Clearly, you have an opinion on this.
Yeah. Well, so I just did I've written about him a lot. I wrote about the Wicker Man running that you and I talked about on the MFF Data podcast. I have a big video coming out for Rotten Tomatoes that should be out by the time this comes out. So if you look at Rotten Tomatoes versus, you'll see Nicolas Cage versus John Travolta. So I went through his entire filmography and just researched Nicolas Cage. And I just think he's a guy that has been cranking out great work since the 80s. And he kind of reinvents himself. There's many different kinds of Cages. There's the romantic Cage. There's the action Cage. There's the bonkers Cage. There's the Cage who just does movies like The Wicker Man and he becomes a living meme. His moments, I do think that he's gotten popular for the wrong reason. So everyone talks about how broke he went and he has to make movies and Tyrannosaurus Rex heads and his freakouts in Wicker Man. But then they forget about the excellent work that he did in Face Off. I mean, that's an excellent film. Then you have what else? You have Leaving Las Vegas. Adaptation. Adaptation is, I love that movie. Just the brothers and the absurdity of the dialogue. He's just stayed relevant. He's a very good actor, and he keeps, just when you think he's out, he'll churn out a Mandy or Color Out of Space, and now there's a National Treasure 3. He's just been able to, also, I wrote about National Treasure. Watching it again for the article that I wrote for Rotten Tomatoes, he is so earnest in that movie, in National Treasure. Everything that comes out of his mouth is just, there's some absurd stuff in there with lemons. They find a bowl of lemons out of the middle of nowhere. They're just doing it it's just a PG fun romp, but he's so earnest and he's so into it that he makes it work. He really sells the material. So I think he's a combination of weird, outside he's had an interesting life. In the film, it's a very interesting filmography. And then he just has, of course, his moments that can be shared with his freakouts and the bees. So yeah. I think that's why people stay interested. And people like Cage. Those National Treasure movies, those were some of the biggest non-animated superhero comic book original films made. I mean, they made 500 million worldwide, 700 million worldwide. So he's just got a big fan base. I think that's what it is.
Yeah. I like to think of Cage as like a super fan who got his shot to be in the movies.
Yeah.
And I want to root for him. And I also really like him because he's so expressive. It feels like 95% of the movies he's in, he is going to sell the role. He's going to give it his all. And there's some movies where he doesn't, like the Left Behind, he's not
that
very
movie
good in that one.
Next, he is bored the entire. So I did a post about Next. You just watch the entire movie and he has the same expression. And they put a terrible hat on Julianne Moore too.
But overall, it's like he's going to give you 100%. And if you're a director, you have to know how to channel that. Otherwise, it's going to come off strange, or he might have been miscast. And in this movie, Mandy, it feels like the director absolutely knew how to channel Nick Cage's performances.
That's a great point that you have here. And I think it takes excellent directors to use him perfectly. Who know? So you have Ridley Scott from Matchstick Men. You have Werner Herzog from Bad Lieutenant, Port of Call, New Orleans. Then you have Panos Cosmatos. You have David Gordon Green and Joe. And then I guess when you go, I liked him a lot in World Trade Center. That was with Oliver Stone. John Woo in Face Off. I think, I don't know. It's interesting that I think it takes a really excellent director to chant, like Wild at Heart, David Lynch. That and him and Laura Dern are amazing in that movie. So yeah, I mean, the Coen brothers knew how to use him. Like in Raising Arizona, he's such a flat, weird little guy, isn't he? It's just,
oh yeah, it's one of my favorite performances from him.
It is such a funny. It's just the weirdest. I love it. I don't know. I just think you're exactly like you said. I think Panos had a lot of respect for him, and they worked together and they created this performance. And that's why I'm really glad to talk about this film, because, oh God, it's just such a gnarly trip, isn't it? It's just, like you said, it's rock and roll.
Yeah. I think I said it was rock and roll off mic. But the sentiment is correct. I think this is the most metal movie I have ever seen. And that includes Heavy Metal and Heavy Metal 2000. Like, about those movies, they like, there's different types of metal. And this one is like, this Mandy is like sludgy and slow and hypnotizing, in a way that the heavy metal movies aren't.
It is such, yeah, it's just so, it kind of puts you into a interesting sort of not trance, but just watching everything be explored on screen. And they didn't have much time to make this. So the end result is something that's really impressive. I mean, this is a $6 million movie. That's not that much money. And
I didn't realize it was that low.
Yeah. And so
wow.
I found this excellent article about the filming of it, and the cinematographer that got brought on. Let me find his. I have 8 pages of notes here, so bear with me. And you know me, how my brain works. My notes are all over the place. But yeah, so the cinematographer, his name is, not was, that'd be bad. So his name is, come on. So many notes. I know everything about this. I should write another thing, but his name's Benjamin Loeb. Panos originally thought he wanted to bring him in. However, he thought that Joseph was a Canadian resident, and they shot the movie over in Europe, so he didn't think he could bring over that cinematographer. But it turns out that Loeb is actually Scandinavian, so he has a passport there, so they were able to bring him over because Nick Cage broke his leg. So they had to delay the making of this movie, and they brought in a cinematographer. And he only had 2 weeks to prep for this film.
Wow.
So he gets on set, and he admits that throughout the process, Panos wanted him to light things differently. So it was a small crew. They couldn't afford too many people. And this was actually produced by Elijah Wood's company. I don't know if you know about his producing company, Spectre Vision.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so they didn't have much time. So I thought it was really interesting that when you watch this film, they had to do really smart things. So the big fight with the boss cenobite, I mean, that's just what we're going to call him, the biker gang, they had to light that car on fire. They're like, we don't have much money. We can't shoot this on stage. So they lit a car on fire. They had a couple other LEDs going out there to light it, but that's how they lit. And the major chainsaw fight at the end, it's a construction site, so they just put up work lights and replaced the lights to make them more powerful. And they also had the car headlights on. So they had various LEDs. They did have one light that was overhead that they were able to hang. Nothing major, though. But you go on some of these movies, TV shows, and the lighting is just, they can get it everywhere they want. But here they had to be really creative. And it was interesting that the cinematographer said, I didn't trust him because he was lighting the ways that the opposite of way. But I think that's what makes this movie so interesting and visually dynamic is Panos had a look in his head and that's what he wanted to achieve. So this movie was just, they had the choreography, all the fights were filmed in one day, which is gnarly, which is like when you're having a chainsaw fight, you should probably have more than a day, but they didn't have that. And so they just ran around shooting as fast as they could. I don't know. I love it. Like I love, I don't know. The cinematography is excellent in here. They had to be really thrifty, but the uses of red, I mean, his name's Red and the colors has tons of red hues, you know, like, and then just the world, I don't know, man. It's just a great LSD trip that was made for next to nothing with very little preparation. And the way it came out, the way it did shows that Panos really knows what he's doing. He knows what he wanted. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Well, let's talk about him a little bit. So did you happen to listen to the interview with Panos conducted by Eli Roth? Roth. It's from Shudder. He has a TV show on Shudder that's doing the history of horror, but he released the unedited interviews on a podcast, and he talked to Panos. And some things I learned about this guy is that he has extreme high anxiety and stress, and that he made his first movie, Beyond the Black Rainbow, because he was going to turn 40 in a couple years. And he's like, I always thought I was going to be a film director and I had to get a movie out before I was 40 or I basically thought I was a failure. And so he viewed as Beyond the Black Rainbow as his one shot. He got it out and he didn't plan on making another movie. And so when he made Mandy, his expectations were so low. It was kind of crazy to hear him talk about how he just said, like, I was making a movie for me and that was it. Like, I didn't expect it to be good. I just didn't expect people to get it. I just wanted to make another movie. And I had thought that I'd already made my one movie. So this was like living on borrowed time.
Wow. He said that?
Yeah, he didn't say those exact words. I'm paraphrasing a bunch, but those were the sentiments. And what he also said that really Beyond the Black Rainbow and Mandy are sort of a duology a little bit.
Yeah.
So they both take place in 1983. They both have a similar aesthetic and they both deal with sort of loss and they're somewhat experimental. Unfortunately, I haven't seen Beyond the Black Rainbow. I will get to that, but it'd be interesting to do a back-to-back screening and see if I can pick up on those themes.
Just to see that kind of evolution of his filmmaking, because he said he loved making Beyond the Black Rainbow, and he said making Mandy was the most difficult thing he'd ever done.
I can imagine, yeah.
Because, originally he wanted Nick Cage for the Linus Roache role. Mm-hmm. He did not, and then Cage was like, nah, man. He was like, I want to be Red. So then he had to rewrite the script, and he had a dream one night where he watched the movie, and the movie turned out brilliantly. So he kind of thought, okay, I guess I can do that. Because he wanted him to be Jeremiah Sand. But I think the swap worked out better for the movie, because Linus Roache, the amount of sort of villainous man-child that he is able to bring forth is something I don't see Nick Cage offering.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, he would be good with some of the over-top acting, but he doesn't have that sense of vulnerability that Roache has.
And what scares me about Roache is that, and I think this happens in many cases, where this, by himself, right, Jeremiah Sand is not a powerful man, but he has some people with him, like Brother Swan, played by Ned Dennehy, and then Mother Marlene, where they are dedicated to him. They allow him to be the alpha, and anything he wants, that Brother Swan, whose eyes, Ned Dennehy's eyes are just dark as night, he gets done. So he has these capable, sort of deadly people around him that are what make him powerful, but he by himself is a failed musician. It's just a really interesting villain in this film, where he is just very fragile. When he makes a speech to Mandy, and she's loaded up on LSD and a terrible bug bite. Well, I don't even know what that bug was. And she just laughs at him. I love it when he just loses it, and he goes into a thing screaming, keep it together. And he's like, you will never allow that to happen again. He's just I don't know. I think he's a very fragile man who's enabled by people who are legitimately terrible.
There was an article, maybe it was in Vulture, about how Mandy talks about male masculinity.
Oh yeah, I sent that to you. Yeah,
you did. That's right.
Yeah,
you sent that to me. And that scene is the scene that they really highlight, talking about how Jeremiah is an example of just the frail masculine ego, and Mandy's laughing at him really sets this entire thing in motion.
God told me I could do what I want. So I have that entire speech written down where he monologues, and he did that twice. So those are two scenes, and then he was becoming one with Mandy in that, which was pretty gnarly, which I love.
Yeah.
And so here, let me find this speech here. He talked to me, addressed me as a friend. They were wrong and you are right. So right, he blessed me with his holy kiss. You are not separate. All that is yours. He gave me his deepest and warmest permission to take what is mine. All of it. Mine. My wants, my needs, my pleasures. And then he looks at her and he's like, be gentle. And she just laughs in his face.
Because it's so absurd. Dude. It's such an absurd statement. Like the ego you have to think that you can do whatever you want and that the world exists to please you is insane. And they do a good job, showing him being insane.
He's laying on the bed. And I just love I laughed during this scene too, where Mother Marlene is like, what can I do with you? He's like, nothing. He's like, everything you do is wrong. He's like, obviously, like, you don't know what you're doing. And she's like, oh my God, like she just is heartbroken. And then he brings in Brother Swan, and everything that he says, Brother Swan's like, I got it. I can do it. Yep. That's perfect. Great plan, boss. And they're like, get rid of the porker. And he's like, oh yeah, he couldn't find his nose if he looked in a mirror. I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, they do a great job showing that he's actually very weak and that he's propped up by other people.
Yeah, it's just, but I think that's a really neat concept. And I know your thoughts about that movie Joker, but at the end when he legitimately has a mental break and he shoots De Niro, these people sort of use him to riot and cause chaos. And they kind of, they use him to do terrible things. And I thought that was a pretty interesting parallel between them. But I don't know. And also, there are some very fantasy paranormal elements in this film, but there's also a ton of drugs, a face melting amount of drugs in this movie. So where do you fall? I mean, where this horn of Abraxas is used to call the biker gang. So what is this horn of Abraxas? What do you think? This is a world with some mysticism, but it's also enshrouded in a haze of drugs that's kind of unreliable.
Yeah, that's really interesting because there are multiple relics that the yuppie Christian cult gang have. So there's the tainted blade, which I don't quite get, and then the horn of Abraxas. And I researched the horn of Abraxas, and the background of it is incredibly convoluted. But I was like, I can't even get through this. But
I found one cool thing. Do you mind me reading it?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so the horn is clearly phallic and completely in line with an interpretation of Abraxas as a demigod, at least partially responsible for the creation of everything. There's also a fair amount of research about the existence of reality as constructed under the rule of Abraxas. Clearly, blowing the horn is a way to call into existence Abraxas and his minions and all the realities in which he exists. We also associate Abraxas with snakes and serpents. If we pay careful attention to the beginning of the movie, we are treated to the titular Mandy reading the eye of the serpent, a clear reference to the importance of serpents in demon lore, generally and Abraxas specifically. The Gnostics believe Abraxas had two serpents as legs, and often drew images of him having reptilian features. As things go from kind of strange to completely bonkers, we are introduced to the demons, bikers. These are the Hell's Angels, are clearly servants of Abraxas by the way of Jeremiah Sands, who might just be Abraxas. Shortly after defeating the demon bikers, but before confronting Sands and company, Cage visits a tiger-keeping, drug-making guru who shows Cage the darkness around him by way of hundreds of large black centipedes. These could easily be considered serpents for our purposes. It's pretty, I don't know, that of all the things I read, that made some sense to me.
Yes.
But see, the thing is, I don't see Jeremiah Sand as Abraxas. And I don't even think he's not a Christian. He just found a way to make power, and he knew that if he used Christianity, he could bring a following. So he's just a guy that if he could be a vacuum salesman and get the same cult, he would do it. Do you think so?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And
Yeah.
it's just like, look at all that has been provided to me. It's just I want. And I don't know, maybe like look at people in this world who just want. They take. I mean, some of these people do build massive followings. So this character is not too far out of left field. But the fact that he has a horn of Abraxas raises good questions for me. These are not Aquaman level questions. I'm like, well, I was like, did they just punch a hole through the Earth's core with a 2.5 kilometer sea beast? These are questions that are worth exploring and pondering.
Yeah. So I guess what's going on in my head is that I don't think Jeremiah Sand is Abraxas. I think Abraxas is a separate entity, and that Jeremiah Sand was able to tap into that entity and use the biker gangs by sacrificing his men and giving, I guess, some type of drug. I guess we're gonna say it's some goop acid, but it shows sort of the, I guess what you would call it, hypocriticism. He shows that Sand is a hypocrite because he's saying he's one with God, but then he's utilizing demons from another god.
I guess he's taking it as, I can do whatever I want. This demon is part of this world, so it's mine.
Yes, everything is his. Yeah.
You know when I realized that his henchmen were next level is when the demons came and they just got out of their cars and the really huge muscular guy just goes up behind him. So there's some tension around these demon bikers, but they're not too afraid of, like, there's obvious hesitation because they have nails in their heads and arms and they're dripping goop, and one of them rides an ATV, which I hate. They should be a motorcycle gang.
Not Electric Razor?
Yeah, it's just like, come on. I think they had to have that ATV for Nick Cage to ride later because of his leg.
Oh, that makes sense.
I don't know if they could have put him on a bike, but I'm like, why would a demon biker ride an ATV? Like, that's stupid. But I like that they just were there. And I don't even know why they called forth the demon gang, because they could have just gone into that house and taken her.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I wasn't sure why they did that either, because there was clearly more of them to be able to do it. Other than thinking they knew it was going to happen. Like, it was a certainty that the biker game would get it done, and that if the Christian crew, maybe it could go sideways.
And so this biker gang, now obviously they melted their brains with acid and they're in constant pain, which they love. However, these bikers, one of them takes an arrow directly through the neck and just pulls it out. Now I've never done acid, and I've never done a face melting amount of acid, so I'm no pro here. But that thing goes through your neck. It's going to hit veins. You're going to bleed out. They have the equal amount of blood. So these things were not regular humans anymore. Would you say?
I think that's what the movie implies. But again, as you mentioned earlier, you can interpret this movie a lot of different ways. You can interpret it as Jacob's Ladder scenario, that Red actually died. These monsters, these people are normal people who are just sort of screwed up in the head, or you can interpret them as actually being monsters.
And I have another question. So in the beginning when he's chained up and the thing says to him, you have a death wish, he knocks that creature into this pit, a random pit in this movie. Does that thing crawl its way out and take the shot at him with the gun later on? Yeah,
that is Sis, I believe. That's a woman.
Oh, Sis. Got it.
Yeah, so that's a really good point, because like the 4 bikers in the biker game, and I think they're called the let's make sure I get the Black Skulls.
Angels. Yeah, Black Skulls. Yeah.
That it is difficult to know who is who, and even on IMDb, I'm not quite sure like which one is which, other than the one that's called F Pig. Pretty sure we know which one that one is.
The big guy.
Yeah. But I looked at IMDb and I cross-referenced it with another website, and I think the one who fell in the hole is Sis, the single female in the group who came back up and got her neck snapped.
Just like butter.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But there's also, like, I think my favorite line in the movie is, you ripped my shirt!
Yeah. I was reading this article about the making of this. If you look up American cinematographer and there's a, like, 15-minute read about this, but I love this line when talking about that. Red kills his captors, snorts their cocaine, eats their acid, retrieves his axe, and escapes into the night. I love that. That's such a cool sentence right there. And I like how they filmed. They didn't have much money, so they lit that car on fire, And I don't know if you noticed it, but they laid dolly track in a U shape. And then they set up 2 cameras, one on a dolly and then just another one. And then they just sort of moved the dollies around to get the fight. I don't know if you noticed that cinematography for that, but they had no time. And that's the quickest way they could do it. So I thought that was pretty
I didn't notice that, but what I did notice about this movie is that I liked that Nick Cage felt a little too old to be doing what he's doing. Yeah. Like a little out of shape. Like it looks like he's been beat to hell and he's bloody and yet he is still coming for you.
Yeah. And I love that revenge story in him. And I think you do a good job by setting him up as a guy who used to hunt, who was a hunter, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
When I love that scene in the trailer when he explains about the bikers mutilating people. And then the drug guy didn't like them, so he just destroyed their brains, but they love the pain. But I love that. And then he gives them the weapons. And so do you think he was like a former Hellraiser troublemaker? And then he met Mandy and he kind of put his old ways away because they were both damaged. So they met each other and just kind of put their damages, like they tried to sort their lives out, right?
Yeah. So in my head canon, right, what I think about going on in my head is that Nick Cage's character Red was some type of, I guess I'm going to say like special ops person who was probably an alcoholic. And then he met Mandy and they fell in love and he cleaned his act up. And the examples that I can give for that is at the beginning of the movie, someone tries to offer him a beer and he says no. And then when he has that freak out, there is a bottle of liquor hidden in the bathroom, which is something someone who may have been alcohol dependent might do. And so that's just how I pieced it all together in my head.
What her backstory is?
Oh, I have no idea. I mean, she comes off very much like a dryad, like a nature goddess type of character.
Yeah. I mean, they build her that way, just the shots. And I mean, Panos makes sure to give us a lot of freeze frames. So when they drive by her in the van, they stop the car right on, they pause right on her face. When she comes out of the water, there's that scene. She just has a certain transfixing, like men are drawn to her. Certain kind of men are drawn to her?
Yes.
Broken men are drawn to her?
Maybe, yeah.
But I don't know. When she says that Starling, like, they were so cute. Like, that's the best line reading I've heard in a long time. And can we talk about their planet talk? Is that not one of the best character establishing scenes? They're just laying in bed talking about planets.
Yeah.
And it's legit funny too. Like she's talking about Jupiter.
Saturn?
Yeah.
Saturn.
Wait, which one has all the rings? Jupiter's rings. So she likes Saturn because of the storms. Then Nick Cage says Jupiter, but then he switches over to Galactus. And he's like, well, he eats planets. Like and then he becomes, I'm not saying that they did this on purpose because he's a big comic nerd, but he kind of becomes a Galactus. He just goes and he destroys these demonic bikers who have been murdering so many people who have some form of weird mythology demons behind them. Then he whites out this brotherhood. He kind of eats, once he wants his revenge mission, he kind of goes and eats worlds.
Yeah. What's so great about that line is that it foreshadows the rest of the film because what I viewed is that the eye of the storm on Jupiter was Nick Cage and Mandy's home life, and that when they left, it was crazy outside. So he went into the insanity of the world.
And then they didn't want to go back into the insanity. That's why they kind of, wow.
Yeah. This movie is extremely layered. And I've watched it more than 3 times, and I'm still getting things every time I watch it or reinterpreting scenes. And that's probably why I like it so much because it's not straightforward.
And I love, and I also think people should study this as far as cinematography and lighting. They use a lot of dry ice out there just to, once you get smoke out, that can be illuminated. They use a lot of, if you look them up, there's S30C sky panels that you can really set to primary red, which establishes the hue of this film really well. So you could kind of learn how to maybe light your movie like Panos does if you really research this. You could mimic it to the best of your ability. You couldn't achieve it, I would say.
You know what? Why don't we talk about our favorite scenes in this film?
Oh,
because I feel like we've gone through it, and I made a list, and I can go through it if you want.
I have my number one.
Okay, let's. What's your number one?
The Cheddar Goblin.
Oh wow, I'm surprised about that. I'm not surprised it's in your top 5, but number 1, really?
So I read this article from Slash Film that sort of connected with me, and it when I walked out of this film, I didn't really have the words for it yet. So I think I didn't know how to. I knew that there was comedic elements, and there was comedic elements before the Cheddar Goblin, but after this brutal scene in which the love of his life is burnt and he is screaming and they are laughing and people are smiling and she will burn bright. And he does this massive freak out and it's just all gone to hell in a handbasket. He watches on TV this goblin puking macaroni and cheese onto children's heads and their plates. And it's just this moment of absurdity that lets the audience know, okay, it's okay to breathe. It lets go of some of the weight that's on your shoulders. And it just shows how smart the movie is as a whole. And I follow the Cheddar Goblin on Twitter. I think it's just a really neat thing. I think it just, that's a moment I would teach to my students as far as mood setting and levity and just the creation of something new. Cause I think it was such a smart move that people want to promote this movie as a Nick Cage chainsaw fight freakout, but it's very smart. And that's the scene I would point towards.
So I want to tell you my number one scene. And then I also then want to talk about Cheddar Goblin because I did a lot of reading on that. And it's probably my favorite character in the film. So my number one scene, I think, or not, I think it is the chainsaw fight.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely love the chainsaw fight. But what I love about it is that it's so unexpected. Like Nick Cage comes in with a chainsaw and you're like, oh, this is going to be awesome. And the other guy comes out with a giant chainsaw.
That's so funny.
And I find it very funny. I was like, whoa. But my number two is the Cheddar Goblin scene. And maybe we read the same article, but this is a quote from an article talking about when Nick Cage comes out and first sees it. And this is from the director. I want it to be a moment where the horror and the absurdity of the universe slap him in the face at exactly the wrong time. Yeah. So I had this realization watching it. I was like, oh, like this is what it feels like to lose someone. The world keeps going on and it feels absurd while you're hurting inside. And this is a perfect encapsulation of what that means or how it feels.
Wow.
Yeah. We could talk about the Cheddar Goblin. Did you research like how that got made?
No, how did that get made?
Oh, this is so good. So that was directed by Casper Kelly. He's of Adult Swim fame, and he did Too Many Cooks. And the director wanted to include a commercial, and they were joking around about a Cheddar Goblin, and it was just a joke. And then all of a sudden they're like, you know what? Let's actually do it. And basically Casper Kelly did it for next to nothing in exchange for Cosmatos agreeing to do a commercial for Kelly in the future.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. They did it for like $1,000 that they gave to the puppeteer who made the puppet, and it was like done over a weekend. And they made 20 gallons of mac and cheese to get this thing going.
Oh, that's so cool. What a neat story. Yeah,
it is. It's really good. I would also highly recommend people go check out Too Many Cooks. I love that thing.
I think my number 2 is The Chemist with Richard Brake.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of, what is it, 31, Rob Zombie's film?
Yeah.
But I like him a lot in it. And I like just the look of the guy. And he has a telepathic conversation with Cage. And then he lets his tiger go. I just like the lighting of it. And the way just it didn't look like the movie. It was another world. Just the almost all black and no really red. Just a lot of, I don't know, it was a really interesting moment for me. And then I think another neat part about it is that it expanded the world even further. Here's this guy that lives in a shed and it's bigger on the inside, like a TARDIS. And do you think presumably he's the one that did that to the Black Skulls?
Yes, absolutely. I do. What I love about that scene is a very small character moment is that he is making the acid without gloves on and dipping his hands in the acid. And so it doesn't affect him the way everyone else does. He's so far above us that he can do whatever he wants with the acid. And I thought that was amazing.
That was wild. Just watching him handle that, because if it's as strong as he says, and then did Jeremiah Sand get that gross stuff from him to give to those guys?
I mean, that's what I interpreted. Yeah.
Why didn't they go after the chemist?
I think that if they killed the chemist, they wouldn't get their drugs anymore.
Maybe they were happy about it because they didn't. Man, I gotta tell you, when he goes in their house and there's that couple laying there and there's just the blood smeared all over the guy's butt and just she's like they're just naked laying there dead. that image, man, that's like,
It's haunting.
That was a next level. It just shows the depravity of what these people are you got to assume what's the word? Necrophilia is going on in that home. Just the weirdest. That's just what do you think they did to that big guy that they took that was part of the cult?
They probably ate him.
Yeah. Yeah. A horrible, horrible death, right?
Yeah. And that's such a good scene of him disappearing, just complete silence, just sucked back into the dark. That's terrifying.
I mean, that is because they hadn't. All right. Obviously, the strobes were going and the world was a little weird, but they hadn't been dosed with drugs yet. So when she saw that, that's kind of a literal interpretation of what happened to him. So hands go around his head and he is dragged away. So there I don't know, that seems like some mystical stuff going on right there.
Yeah. All right. So my number 3 is Red making his axe.
Oh gosh.
It felt like it belonged in a completely different movie, but I was there for it.
Oh, so badass.
Yeah. Cause it implies so many things. It's like,
he knows how to make an axe.
He knows how to make an axe. He knows how to make an axe that looks crazy. And the axe is like mystical looking. So like, what is his past?
Yeah. How does this dude just know how to make this?
And I love the aviators.
Oh, dude, he just drives around. Oh, man. You know what I think is interesting about Panos? He said that story isn't really important for him. His story is a catalyst for things to be explored. So he has a very loose story, and then he's more in the mood. He's more into, he wanted to make this about Fangoria, heavy metal, and the cover art from horror films. That's what built him in this.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But the story, there's still a good story. I think that's a really interesting way to tell stories, though, where you establish the mood and the actions, and that creates the world.
Yeah.
This is a lived-in, man. I'm glad that there's so much behind-the-scenes stuff on this film that we could talk about, because I'd just be fanboying all over this film if there wasn't about it. All right, so I got to come up with my next one.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. I have we already. So I would say the Jupiter bit is amazing, but we've already covered that.
It's very good.
I've already talked about the window. I do love that they live. All right, so how about this? She's working in the store, and Mother Marlene comes up to her, and she senses right away that something is weird about her. Mandy knows that this lady is odd.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, what are you reading, a novel? She's very cagey with this woman. But then she says, we live over by Crystal Lake.
Crystal Lake, yeah.
I mean, that has to be an homage to Camp Crystal Lake, I would say.
Yeah, 100%. Right? Camp Blood.
And I just love that they brought that up. It just put a smile on my face when they did. Actually, any scene with Riseborough, I loved her in this movie. But yeah, I like that they said that they live near Crystal Lake. That was just a neat little touch.
So we've talked about my number 4 a little bit. So I love when Red turns and smiles to the camera and the audience is a stand-in for Mandy. It just shows how just out of his mind he actually is.
Gone. Because he dipped his fingers in that mind-melting.
He did, yeah.
Acid goop.
Yeah. And also it's a great Nick Cage moment. Just in his career, like, it encapsulates Nick Cage. Like, the crazy eyes, the big smile, covered in blood, just going 100%. And I love that just quick scene.
And then I think I sent you just a brief message on this. And I like the scene where Mandy finds the dead baby deer, I suppose, in the woods. Yeah. And that's a moment where you can tell where she just feels. Her character just feels things. She sensed it. And she went out there and saw it and she cried. So I think there's this very interesting, that's character building, not saying a word, just that tear that drops down. You can sense that she feels everything very deeply, if that makes sense. And I thought that was a really strong moment.
Yeah, it's an excellent moment. It reestablishes or continues to establish sort of the empathetic Earth Mother vibe from her. My number 5 is when Mandy laughs at Jeremiah. Yes. I think it's such an unexpected and powerful scene, and it feels cathartic in a way.
It does.
Yeah, because you're like the audience is just so absurd. And if you look at the state of our world today, it's absurd. And sometimes you have to laugh at absurdity.
I love this movie. All right, so I got to do one more.
One more.
Oh goodness. There's so many good parts. I like the part where he goes and visits Bill Duke. It just shows that there's a world outside of him, and he knows this guy. and there's just a world outside of their little area. But I like when he gives him the crossbow and he gives them the arrows and he says, I'll give them to you on one condition. It's that you put them to good use. And I love that line. And I also like that when he's talking to him, he's like, there are these gnarly psychos, like bikers, like crazy. He's like, they were crazy evil. I loved how he explained them to Bill Duke inside of that trailer. But I just wish I had a buddy that was holding onto a crossbow of mine and said, hey, yeah, take it back. The only condition is you got to use them well. I love that. Yeah. I think that's pretty cool. And
Phil?
Oh, sorry, go for it.
From a filmmaking perspective, I think it's really interesting that they cast the actor from Predator in this film because it's like they're both movies about predators in a way, except Red is our main protagonist and he's going hunting, and in the other movie they were hunted.
Oh, I just like seeing Bill Duke. And then one more thing I just gotta say before we do a quick. Do you have another one, right? And then I have another one.
No, that was my number 5. Okay. You have one more.
One more. So I like the scene where Red shoots one of the Black Skulls and then runs him down with his SUV. But when he hits one of the Black Skulls, the Black Skull's body, I guess, or strength is so powerful that his vehicle flips over.
Yeah, that's a great scene. I actually rewound that to watch it because I didn't understand what was going on. I think maybe I'm right here. Is that it's the Spike guy whose name may or may not be Scabs, and he was on the 4-wheeler.
Yeah, and so he kills him, but he hits him right in the middle, right? It's not like he blasts a tire and he shoots. As soon as he hits this thing, the force is so strong that the truck flips.
Yep.
So it just establishes that they're not. That could sway you one way or the other. But I've never hit somebody with an SUV, but when he hit this guy and his vehicle flew. That was a very interesting thing to see. So that kind of led me to believe more of like a mystical vibe to the world.
Yeah. Once they blow the horn, things just go nutty.
And then remember when he grabs the horn and everything turns green?
Oh, yeah.
That's wild. All right. So, hey, how about this? Let's take a quick break and we come back. We'll talk more Mandy. Welcome back to Movies, Films, and Flicks. And David, I have a surprise for you.
What's that?
All right. So what we're going to do is we are going to do a Nicolas Cage 2010 to 2019 draft.
2010 to 2019. Yes. Oh, my God.
And we are going to prove that he has had solid films during this time. I want people to see this, which we're going to put on Movies, Films, and Flicks Facebook. And you can go vote for it. It might be up by the time you check it out, but you'll go there and you'll find great things to vote on and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to pick a number 1 or 2, David. 1 or 2.
I'm going to pick 1, okay. But I want to ask a stipulation here.
Sure.
Can we exclude Mandy from this? Because I feel like whichever one of us gets that is going to have a significant advantage over the other person.
No, I think you picked 1, so you get the first pick. Let's do Mandy.
Okay, I pick Mandy. I'm winning. I just won, Mark.
But this is good though, because I want people to see that movie in there. I want people to be like, oh wow, that is strong. So you know what? I'll do Kick-Ass because he's amazing in Kick-Ass.
Yeah, he's Big Daddy in Kick-Ass.
Yeah,
okay.
He's so good in that.
Okay, I'm gonna flip through here and I'm gonna talk this out as I'm doing it. I think Joe is very solid. We talked about that a little bit. Yep. I think he's great in Mom and Dad.
Yep.
I'm gonna go with a surprise. I'm actually really shocked I'm doing this, but Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, I knew you were gonna do that. I was gonna say it out loud.
You were, of course you were. That's a great film.
Yeah, that's not a surprise. You totally won this thing. I'm done. So I will do. Let's see. I'll do Joe because I want more people to watch that movie.
That's great. Let me see here.
I just want to pick a strong lineup so people can't say he hasn't done good stuff this decade.
Yeah. Well, then I guess I am gonna do Mom and Dad.
I'm Dunsky. Game over. I'm not gonna do Crudes.
Yeah, you could. I mean, Season of Witch isn't that good.
No, I'm gonna have some fun. You know what? I'm gonna do Drive Angry because that movie is exactly what it's supposed to be. A guy escapes hell. He drives angry. It's good. It's fun. It's a fun picture. There's a shootout while he's having sex with a woman. Have you seen that movie?
No, I haven't.
So he's hooking up with this lady in a hotel room. All these guys come in to kill him, and he kills all these guys while still having sex with a lady walking around with her.
That's amazing.
Yeah. All right. What's your next one?
Okay. Honestly, it's getting a little bit hard because I haven't seen some of these.
There's some good ones. There's some good ones in here.
There really is. All right.
The Trust is actually good.
The Trust. I was leaning towards Snowden.
Snowden?
Snowden. Yeah.
Oh, Snowden.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. I thought you said snowed in. I'm like, what? Yeah, Snowden. Yeah. Oliver Stone picture.
Yeah, exactly. And my thinking behind that is it's showing that he has range.
He's doing different movies?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So I am going to pick. I really didn't mind Frozen Ground. That wasn't terrible. No, I had fun with Frozen Ground. I'm gonna raise some awareness here. I'm gonna say Color Out of Space.
That's great. So that's borderline 2020, but I think it counts.
Oh, well, dang it.
No, it's one of those movies that had its major release in 2020, but it was festival circuited in 2019. So I think it counts. We can add that.
I'm just gonna write 2010 to 2020 just to.
That prevent. Sounds great.
All right. So what's your fifth one?
Oh, that's really hard because I haven't seen actually a bunch of these because I haven't heard of a bunch of these actually.
I'm telling you, The Trust, look it up. It's 50-some% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's with him and Elijah Wood. They're thieves. It's fun.
Oh, you just sold me on Elijah Wood. I'm going to pick The Trust. I love Elijah Wood. Everything he does in the last 15 years has been fantastic. He is a weirdo after my own heart.
Grand Piano. Did you watch Grand Piano?
No, I haven't.
Oh, man. Look that up right now while I'm picking my last one. You're going to like that a lot. All right, so I am going to pick. I want to get a really good performance out of here. That I like that he teamed up with him. Trespass is not good. I actually suggested Trespass. So how did this get made back in 2011? And then they did it. So I'm pretty sure I suggested it and it got it made. I'm serious. I think I did it. I take credit for that. I'm gonna go with Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance. Why not? There's a giant chainsaw in it. And remember that big drill? Like there's a big saw and then it goes on fire and then it becomes like a giant weapon.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
I just looked up Grand Piano and you sold me off on Alex Winter's first non-cameo role since Freaked.
It's so good. And John Cusack is the voice in it. Elijah Wood has to play piano. It's a solid thriller. It's a fun thriller.
That's amazing. All right. I could check that out. Again, dear audience, look into Elijah Wood's weird world of horror movies.
Maniac.
He does so many. I saw Come to Daddy last week. It is. It's worth watching. Probably you don't need to go to the theater. You'd be fine seeing it in the theater, but I think it's watch it at home, but definitely a watch.
All right. So we're going to rank the kills now, aren't we?
We are. Oof. So when I put this kill list together, I included the murdered husband and wife, even though it was off screen. Mm-hmm. And I should say that I'm not sure of the names of all the Black Skulls. So I put what I thought their names were and then a description of what they look like. So we can say that if we're confused. Got it.
All right. So you want to do your rankings first?
Yeah. And I'll start at the bottom and move my way up. So the very bottom is Brother Lewis, the chubby occultist who was dragged off into the dark. There was the murdered wife who was killed off screen. The murdered husband who was killed off screen. We have Mother Marlene who was decapitated. Then there's Brother Hank who gets an axe to the head while washing a car. Yeah. Which I think is a cool scene. Surprisingly, it's much lower than I thought it would be when I first watched this movie. We move into the Black Skulls at this point. So Scabs, aka the Spike Dude, was shot with an arrow and then run over. Then Sis, the woman who was kicked down the well, had her neck snapped when they got into the second fight. Here, this is going to be your one PG-13 per episode. Fuck Pig was killed with the box cutter to his throat, which was amazing.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah, and then the Scratch character was burned / decapitated, and now we're moving into like the higher end. So Brother Swan had an axe shoved through his mouth, which he absolutely deserved. Yeah. Top 3. Here's what everyone came for. Jeremiah Sand had his head crushed. I love this scene because he is so pathetic in it, and it shows just how crazy strong Red has become.
And he goes full MacGruber.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Mandy.
Remember he's begging for his life?
He's
like,
yes.
Yeah.
I'll SUD.
Yeah. I was like, hey, that's a MacGruber line. That took me out of it a little bit.
He's so pathetic.
Yeah.
the Mandy scene because it was so powerful, not because I enjoyed watching her die. And then number 1 is definitely Brother Klopek and the chainsaw fight. Just because I loved the chainsaw fight.
So for me, I'm going to go the murdered husband and wife for 12.
Okay.
Just oh gosh, what a brutal aftermath. I mean, what a gnarly thing to see in a movie. And then number 11's Marlene. She loses her head. We don't see it, but she makes an interesting speech to him. She's like, I can anticipate everyone's needs. And you're like, geez Louise, and he just decapitates her. Then you have Brother Lewis, who just gets dragged away. I mean, I like all these kills, so I'm not saying these are the worst. I'm just saying they're my least favorite, if that makes sense.
Yeah, they're all good in this film.
9 is Brother Hanker. He gets the axe to the head. I want to see more. The axe, it's budgetary reasons, of course, but I just would have liked to have seen him got more. Number 8, you're going to be surprised, is Brother Klopek from the chainsaw fight, because he just falls on it. He just falls on it.
Okay.
And I wanted arms, legs. They didn't have money for it. And they didn't have money for rain either, which is interesting in this film. So he just falls on that, so I wasn't too impressed. Number 7 is Sis. I like that she crawls out of that cave and gets her neck snapped like butter. I mean, Nick Cage just it really leans into that. 6.
You tore my shirt!
Yeah.
Before you go to number 6, let's make sure we explain, I think the shirt he's wearing, the number 44 shirt, is a shirt that he wore the night he met Mandy, and that's why it's his favorite shirt, and that's why he was so upset.
And she was wearing it that night when they came and got her.
Yeah, potentially, yeah.
No, remember when they go outside? And she had the 44 shirt on.
Okay, yeah.
So, because she has it on at one time, too. What a bummer. All right, 7 is, I'm at 6. Scabs. I just like that the car explodes when it hits him. That's a gnarly, I love it. 5 is Mandy. I hated it, but it hurt when she's going to burn so bright. Those people are evil. Like, that Jeremiah Sam was with some evil people. Wow. 4 is Scratch. I just love that fight scene. And he takes an arrow through his neck. 3 is Jeremiah Sand. He gets his head squished. 2 is F-Pig. Because the blood. I mean, that's such a crazy gag. That's meant to make you laugh, is it not? When he slits his throat open and just a gallon of blood sprays into Nick Cage's face.
Yeah, that's Rami gag?
Sam Raimi?
Yeah, Sam Raimi. Yeah. That's a total gag that he would do. But he's done. I'm sure he's done.
His blood's gross, too. Red's in trouble after getting all that blood on him. And my number 1 is Brother Swan, because just that guy scares me. He's the scariest person in this movie. His eyes are just dark as night, and he's not afraid to get out and talk to these bikers. He's the one that tells Red she's going to burn bright. And didn't he say she's still burning as he's about to die?
I think someone said that.
But he also made a comment to him when he was about to die. This is an unrepentant, evil, get things done, dangerous man. And just how much blood came out of his face was epic. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. That felt good. That was a good kill.
That was catharsis.
Yeah. Get that true believer.
What an excellent movie. And I gotta tell you, just go read that article online about the way they made it. I just think it was a brilliant article. I'd read it all, but people would just fall asleep because they don't want to hear it. But, oh man, I love it. And then that huge bug. What was that thing?
I have no idea. I think that was the purpose. Just like a beetle bee hybrid.
Oh, it's gnarly. All right. Anything else you want to say about this movie before we move on to our chainsaw crew?
I did want to talk a little bit about whether you think the director is going to make a sequel or make another movie. From my understanding, he said he might have an idea for a sequel, but he's not sure if he would do it. And then whether he's going to make another film. I mean, this film took him 10 years to make. Mm-hmm. We might get only 1 or 2 more films from him, if that.
Based on the amount of stress cinema's tough. Finding backing is tough. Making these movies, it's a arduous process. And since he deals so much with anxiety, and also I think he's a perfectionist. So I don't think he's going to make it until it's ready. I don't see him returning to this well. I think this guy has so many ideas. I almost don't want him to come back to this world. Maybe he can make a world that's adjacent to this in the same world, but a different story to further build upon it. But I don't know. I don't want a sequel. I want something different. I want this guy telling me new stories.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I would consume a sequel. I would happily watch it, but it would be nice to get something different and let this exist as its own perfect cult film, its own perfect masterpiece.
I mean, it's a perfect cult film.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Oh, and this also shot over 29 days, which that's not a long shoot.
Not at all.
This. Yeah, that's a gnarly. Wow. They didn't sleep. Oh, jeez Louise. And they also had to shoot it at night. But you know what their big problem was? I don't know if you remember this. Night fell at 10. So this is another stressful thing. So it shot for 29 days. But the problem was where they were at. Night fell at 10:30 p.m., which means they started at 9 p.m. and they had to cut at 5 a.m. because that's when the sun started coming up. So the hours out there were all out of sort. So they also had, like, it's pretty interesting, right? Like, sometimes it gets dark at 6 and then it stays for 12 hours. They did not have many hours to shoot at night. So they had to pack them all in about 7 hours, which is nuts.
That's why they're going so fast.
What a stressful shoot. Oof. Man. Yeah. But I don't know. I kind of like, they didn't have money though for gigantic soft boxes. They didn't have money for they had to use headlamps outside on cars. They had to use, I don't know. I love it. Sorry. I just keep saying I love it, but I just think this is a neat movie, man. I'm glad you joined me to talk about this.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this too.
Right.
Are you ready to move on?
Yeah. Chainsaw Crew.
Chainsaw Crew. I'm excited about this. Did you have a hard time fighting chainsaws?
Yeah. So when I started this, I originally thought there's going to be chainsaws everywhere. We're going to be able to find so many, because I immediately conjured up 4 or 5 of them. But you know our list, like I wanted to find some funky ones outside of the regular, because you and I might have just picked the same 5. So I started going deeper into chainsaws, and there's not too many. There's definitely a niche chainsaw market, but yeah, I didn't find many. What about you?
Same. I had a difficult time. There's about 5 that everyone knows of and like 2 that everyone talks about. But I started to having to get real deep to get stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So you want to start? I'll let you go first.
Well, I went first last time. If you feel like you wanna get this advantage.
All right. So you might hate me, but I'm picking John McKenna from Forest Warrior.
You're right. You're right.
I mean, all right. Here's the thing. I'll consider it. I mean, we're going to have to cheat a little bit from chainsaw fights. We're more of a chainsaw crew. But there's a lumberjack or an arborist cutting down a tree. And Chuck Norris with his bare hands stops it.
Who may or may not be an immortal spirit.
Yeah, it is glorious and it's amazing. And I had to pick it number 1.
Okay. I'm going to pick a crazy number 1. So in my research, I found out about this movie called Tiger on Beat, or Tiger on the Beat, and it stars Chow Yun-fat. And it is a martial arts film that the final battle is 2 guys fighting with chainsaws, and it is insane. It's the craziest chainsaw fight I've ever seen. And while people may not know about it, I'm picking it as my number 1.
It's gnarly.
Yeah, it's nuts.
I'm surprised people didn't die.
They did some clever editing in the fight scene where the chainsaws were off and they cut real quickly to something else that they were so they didn't look like they were, swinging from the air with chainsaws.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. But man, that's dangerous. And I love it. That's so cool. You showed me that clip and it made my day.
It's so good. Definitely share it on the Facebook feed.
I'm going to go with Buzzsaw from The Running Man.
That's great.
Because he catches a chainsaw from the groin up.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I do. That is real good.
I mean, that's a gnarly oof. But, I like that a villain gets his chainsaw taken from him and used against him. So that's my number 2. Who's your number 2?
So my number 2, again, I'm way abreast in this, is Phantasm 2.
Oh, yeah.
There is a chainsaw fight scene at the end. That's very good. It's much, much better than I thought it was going to be. I'm also picking it because I love Phantasm 1. It's one of the most surreal, strange movies I've ever seen, and I highly recommend it.
People love those movies.
Yeah.
I think they're great.
Yeah, they're weird. Don't get me wrong. They're quite something, but I really like the first one.
Oh, I dig it. No, that's a perfect one. All right, so my third one is Finn from Sharknado.
Nice.
So he gets swallowed by a shark, and he saws a shark in half one time, and he chainsaws his way out of a shark at the end. Chainsaws play a major role in the first Sharknado.
Don't they get like an award called the Golden Chainsaw or something? Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, so I had to do that. That's my pick.
No, I think that's great. All right, so we've been dancing around this one. I think Ash from The Evil Dead.
Oh, yeah, of course.
The question, though, is Evil Dead 2 or Army of Darkness?
So, obviously, the iconic groovy line in the first one, and that you learn about how he got the chainsaw on his hand. But Army of Darkness, dude, he catches it on his hand, and he's swinging it around, and it's part of his character. I mean, it's just so... This is tough. It's up to you, man. You pick.
I think Army of Darkness is the correct choice. It is always the correct choice.
Yeah, I mean, that's perfect. I love it. I mean, yeah. You can't argue against that. All right, so I'm gonna go Red from Dead Snow.
Nice.
Now, have you watched Dead Snow 1 or 2?
I've seen Dead Snow 1, but it was a long time ago.
So at the end, it's two guys, and they just fight zombie Nazis with a chainsaw and some other weapons, and they just chainsaw the crap out of zombie Nazis.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so I think my number 5.
Wait, number 4.
Number 4. Oh yeah, number 4. My number 4. I am going to pick a character from a series that you'd be surprised with. So I am going to pick Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but not Leatherface.
Yeah, I know where you're going.
Yeah, the sheriff with the 2 mini chainsaws.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous.
TCM2, right?
Yeah. That's just so crazy.
And he's shopping for them with 2 mini ones. It's beautiful. And Dennis Hopper chainsaws.
He has like holsters for him.
I love it. This Dennis Hopper, man, with take my money. Take my money and keep it. I love it. All right. I gotta go. All right. I guess we have to take Bateman, Patrick Bateman from American Psycho.
Yeah, I think you do. Absolutely.
I was going to add Joanna from Overboard, but I decided not to. There's also Scarface, there's Hostel, Machine Girl. But, I mean, that when he just drops the chainsaw on her, like, that's such an iconic moment. We have to have that scene in there.
Yeah, that's an excellent choice.
Yeah.
So, my final one is, I think it's out of left field, but I think it's encapsulates what we found while doing this research. And the main thing was we had a hard time finding chainsaws, and also maybe the chainsaw like baddies that you remember from your childhood, like Jason having a chainsaw, doesn't exist. So I'm going to pick Christmas Vacation.
Oh.
Because Clark Griswold comes out with a hockey mask and a chainsaw.
He chops down a giant tree.
Yeah. Yep.
I love that. That's an iconic chainsaw scene. And
it
tree.
is.
You see my trees whenever I get them. People are always saying that's the, I don't know if you've seen the pictures, but people are like saying I get Christmas Vacation trees. So you gotta chop them down. I love that. It's interesting how characters' weapons get confused.
Yeah. I'm really interested in why you would think that Jason had a chainsaw. His whole thing is that he's mostly silent and a chainsaw is loud.
That would really wreck the...
Yeah.
Like, Leatherface thrives on the noise.
Yeah, he's chaotic.
Yeah. Jason's just, he's just a teleporting weirdo.
Teleporting stalker.
Yeah. An axe thrower, if the reboot.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
All right. We got to keep... So I like 3 of your 5 that I want in the list.
Oh, okay. What are those?
I know we normally would pick... I'll pick 1 first, but we got to have Dennis Hopper with the 2 chainsaws.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this list would be incomplete if we did not include Ash.
Oh, yeah. Needs Ash. I mean, we got to... What about... So John McKenna, he doesn't exactly fight with a... He stops a chainsaw, so we probably shouldn't include him, right?
Not unless you're fighting another chainsaw crew. So if we were 2 chainsaw crews fought each other, he would be able to instantly neutralize one of them because he can grab the chainsaw.
So what do you think? Should we pick John McKenna?
I'm on the fence with him. I think... Go ahead.
Oh, gotta do Bateman.
Okay, I think Bateman's a better choice. You're right. Yeah. Okay.
Because that's more of an iconic... He uses the chainsaw.
Yeah, I think that's a good decision.
All right.
I'm gonna pick the one that I sent you, Tiger on Beat, because it's so crazy, and it's probably the best chainsaw scene I've seen, and I think we would do a disservice if we didn't tell people about this.
Oh yeah, people got to know. People definitely got to know about Tiger on Beat. What a crazy scene. What a gnarly moment. All right, so we have. All right, so you know what then? Let's pick Finn from Sharknado, because he Sharknadoed sharks in half. He chainsawed his way out of a shark. I mean, I'm impressed with these guys, but none of them have done that.
Yeah, it's also the most recent one, the newest, the newest film on our list. So it'd be nice.
I mean, people love those chainsaw scenes in that movie, so I kind of like giving him that.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so we have, we didn't include any of the Tokyo Gore Police or Machine Girl.
Yeah, so I had a hard time finding video of that to confirm they'd had chainsaws. I absolutely think that chainsaws exist in those worlds, but I just can't find the video. I don't know.
I think our crew's strong nonetheless.
Yeah, I do too. I think we're okay without them.
I mean, people read this, they're gonna like it.
Yeah, with two other ones we left off, Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning. The woman fights Jason with a chainsaw versus machete. It's an okay scene. It's nice to see. And then one that you told me about, Doom.
Oh yeah, with when he gets super powered.
Yep.
When Carl Urban gets powered. But it's such a brief moment, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's not on there.
I think we picked some pretty iconic chainsawers here.
I agree.
I like it. All right, this was fun, man. Any other final thoughts? What are we doing next?
So I think we are going to do The Mummy next.
Yes, we are. Oh my gosh. I can't wait.
I am very excited. I am a Brendaholic.
Man, I can't wait to watch that again. I'm a Rachel Weisz stan.
We're going to have another podcast. I just love this film, and then just list everything you love about it.
Yeah, top 200 things we love about The Mummy, and just read the list. Oh, man. That'll be fun. I can't wait. So, dude, thank you for joining me to talk about Mandy.
Thanks so much.
All right, this was good. So, for me, Mark Hoffmeyer, for David Cross, this is Movie Some of the Flicks. We'll see you next week.